The content, views, and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the City of Bremerton, BCAT, their officials, or their employees. Hello and welcome to another Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers Showcase episode. My name, of course, is Mark Miller, and today I have a very special guest. We have Pat Sheehan, and not only is he an author, but he's also forming what is called the Peninsula Film Commission. And we're going to discuss that here in a little while also. Thanks for coming, Pat.
What a beautiful introduction, Mark. Thank you.
Oh, you like that? Okay.
I love it.
Yeah. Pat's got a lot of background in film and the arts and everything, so we're going to be picking his brain here in a little while. But first, of course, he came to Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers, and he brought a book. So we're going to let him talk about his book here.
Well, I got to tell you, so I'm a screenwriter and a producer normally, but when I wanted to become an author,
yes,
I sought out Claw, and you guys gave me the best advice on how to self-publish, the process, and so it was a very kind of valuable experience. And I would highly recommend anybody in Kitsap who wants to get into being a writer or has any questions or is fascinated by the process of becoming an author to check out Claw. Like, you can go to their website and they meet at Denny's, right? We meet at Denny's.
Denny's at Kitsap Way on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Yeah, but it's totally unreal. But yeah, no, my book that you guys kind of chaperoned me through the process of publishing is called Wedding Scam, and it's a comedy. I'm a comedy writer mainly, but it's a romantic comedy about two punk rockers who basically get together and fake a wedding to basically scam their family and to get their band back together. But ultimately they end up, falling in love. And but it's set in Kitsap. It's set in Tacoma, Seattle, and surrounding areas, and there's a lot of Easter eggs. So I urge you to pick it up if you're in town, especially. Like, the jokes will land very hard with you, and you can get it on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and also all the local stores carry the book here. Ballast in Bremerton, Sam and Barry in Port Orchard, and Away with Words in Paulsbo, basically all those. So.
And you also are giving, basically handing out, the first three chapters?
Yeah, so it's, the book is very punk rock, and in lockstep with that ethos, I made zines out of the first three chapters, which is, like a short kind of handmade thing that I've been giving out for free. And then if you read the first three chapters and like it, you can go get the book. So it's been fun. I've been getting feedback from a lot of people who do they find the zine at a coffee or like a record store. They read it and then they go get the book. And then afterwards they hit me up and they're just like, that was such a fun kind of Easter egg thing.
Yep.
But so yeah. And I also wanted to, write this book so a lot of the people in Kitsap felt seen, by an author, right? Exactly. So there's all these little Easter eggs, and there's a lot of stuff very unique to people here. So that's a lot of the feedback I've been getting is just like, it's so cool to be able to, see a story that's set in Bremerton. There's some scenes in Gorst,
Oh, there you go.
And now Gorst doesn't get a lot of play in literary,
exactly.
But yeah, it's just been super fun, and I thank you and the good people of Claw for helping me get into it, and now I'm hooked on being an author, so I'm going to do some more writing.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So going way back in the past, actually not that far for you because you're a lot younger than me, but what got you into the whole art thing, not film, writing, everything? What kind of got you started along that path?
Well, I was, my mother was a really good artist, and I kind of got like a lot of that from her. I illustrated this book also, and I was a fine arts minor at Washington State. I was broadcast communication, and then a fine arts minor. So, and that all kind of bleeds into the whole film
Yeah.
The media is a mixture of a lot of those things, so that's why I kind of gravitated towards that. But really, like I was a Navy brat. I moved all around with my dad, and before landing in Bremerton and kind of smack dab in the middle of right when grunge was popping onto the scene and punk rock, and everybody was in a band. And that kind of became my people, So that's why Wedding Scam is such a love letter to that kind of, that time period here in Kitsap.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and all those things kind of, you want to make something with your hands. You want to get out and just get on stage and be in a band. You want to, I used to write graffiti. Although I think the statute of limitations is up here in Bremerton, so long ago.
Well, actually, they sponsor, if you check with the Callow Avenue Association, so other stuff in Bremerton, they've sponsored some graffiti artists to come in and do murals.
Cool,
so
yeah.
That's something, if you, see, I'm learning all this new stuff about
graffiti
all
was illegal back in the day, skateboarding was illegal back in the day, and now it's everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is, if you've got a real desire then to do another mural, that probably might, there's a way we might be able to arrange that.
Okay, I could also do one on your car, so.
Oh, okay, well, I might bring you up on that. So, of course, one thing I definitely want to talk to you about is the Peninsula Film Commission.
I'd love to talk about that with you.
Connected with the Washington State Film Commission, and kind of run that whole thing through.
Sure.
Because some of us who have tried to be involved with film in the past, shall we say, things haven't always been real friendly. So, tell us what you're trying to do.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
So, whenever I start this whole thing, I talk about Hollywood. I've been in Hollywood for 20 years. And recently I've been going back and forth. But what's happening in Hollywood is there's a lot of consolidation with the companies.
Right.
People are, big fish are eating up the small fish.
Right.
Warner Brothers is merging with Paramount Skydance now, or fundamentally it's great for the shareholders and stuff, but what it's doing is just, there's now less competition, things are getting worse, and there's a lot less. So in the last 5 years in Hollywood proper, like productions in the city have gone down by like 40%.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a tough time there. I've been fortunate to keep working, but I know a lot of people who aren't. So with that comes, okay, where are we going to shoot this stuff?
Right.
So people have been going to, traditionally to Vancouver. My show, Neuromancer, which is coming to Apple Plus in January, we shot Japan, UK. A lot of people are shooting in like New Mexico, like Breaking Bad's shot in New Mexico, Atlanta, and in the state of Washington, actually. Washington does have good state level incentives through Washington FilmWorks. Like you can shoot a production here in Washington and get up to 40% of your budget back if you qualify and if you shoot in a rural area. So it's pretty amazing. And Washington FilmWorks has a great website and a lot of resources that they say, and they do service all 29 jurisdictions, political jurisdictions in the state of Washington. Like you can get on there and you could find a location, you can get in there and find people, you can register to work on productions. But if you look at the awards, the financial awards and incentives, they've, in the last 5 years, they've gone to Spokane, Seattle, Seattle, Spokane, Seattle. Nothing on our side of the bridge. So yes, we do have the ability to access these resources at the Washington FilmWorks level, but we don't currently have a amenable infrastructure to welcome productions and the resources that we need to be able to get some of those awards and shoot stuff over here. So what I'm doing is essentially lobbying on behalf of future productions. I'm trying to galvanize the cities of Kitsap, the counties of both peninsulas, Kitsap and Olympic, and make it one easy to shoot location. Like try to get cooperation between these different cities, trying to get a streamlined permitting process that's easy. I was a producer on Penn and Teller's show on Discovery called Penn and Teller Tell a Lie. And it was great, but we had to blow up a car. Okay? So we had to blow up a car to test the trope. In the movies, when you see a car get shot, it explodes. But does that really happen? So we had to, of course, test that out for Penn and Teller. We called 100 different places, and we finally called Texas, and they were like, sure, come on down. You blow up a car.
You blow up a car, we don't care.
Now, I'm not suggesting we blow up cars in Kitsap or on the peninsulas, but that one bit, there's like $350,000 going to Texas.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not blowing up car easy. It's just getting the counties together for a uniform process that's easy. Well, like if you're Netflix and you call up, you're like, can we shoot this? You just have to be able to say yes.
But they have been more recently expanding the funding.
Yeah, in the last 3 years, I believe, they went from 3.5 million to 15 million a year.
Right.
So essentially, in effect, we on this side of the bridge haven't necessarily been eligible to receive any of that stuff because we don't have the proper infrastructure.
Right.
We don't have an appealing infrastructure.
Right.
So $50 million has off the table for us here in Kitsap.
Yeah.
Simply because we're not, a greased wheel and we don't have a film commission. Like, I'm on the OC advisory committee for the OC Film School, and they're like, we need a film commission. So I'm like, okay, I will step up and try to do it. And what I'm seeing is a lot of great talented people here. We have a great film school.
Oh, yeah.
Just we need a little bit of education and we need a little bit of cohesiveness between the cities and the counties just to be like, okay, let's get on the same page and make it easy to shoot here.
Exactly.
And also, like, I want to create a membership that will kind of coach up people in the area to be able to do, these film jobs.
Right.
Like, for instance, everybody here at BCAT, like, there's some very talented people here, could easily step onto a film set if their resume was tweaked just a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they made themselves available through the Washington Filmworks thing. So, like, I'm going to be lobbying to make us good liaisons of Filmworks. And also, if we get to a certain level, I can also pitch this place to companies to come shoot in LA. I also, my book Wedding Scam, which we talked about, I will be shooting the movie out of this here in Kitsap.
There you go.
With or without the help of a studio, hopefully with a studio, but if I have to do it independently, I will do it independently.
Well, we've got an awful lot, and a lot of people don't realize this, we've got an awful lot of independent film people, actors, sound people, people who make their own film. We've got one or two people that have made an awful lot of short films in the area,
Definitely.
and stuff like that. And it would be nice to be able to showcase that, and it sounds like you're going to have the ability to showcase a lot of that because I don't think most people realize that.
Well, we also have really good film festivals here. Like, I did a promotion with the Paulsbo Film Festival. They're going into their 6th year. We have West Sound Film Festival, which is great. That's in Bremerton. Port Townsend is a very good film festival. Also, Gig Harbor has a great film festival. So, and I'm pretty sure they all have local categories for local, filmmakers from Washington also. So, I programmed Slamdance Film Festival. I had a feature get in 2017, and since then I've been programming documentary features for Slamdance. And there is a ton of amazing films. Like, now, as Hollywood it declines, one of the things I want to impart through the commission to people is you can do this. That's that punk rock attitude where, it's never been, in some ways, there's never been a better time to compete with Hollywood. You want to go through the steps of pitching something and get it greenlight. It's harder than ever because they're just recycling IP. But that means that you can bring something fresh and you can do it yourself. And there's never been more ways to self-distribute, and monetize your stuff and get out there. So it's all very exciting. And I'm trying to bring a ball of fire to the community when it comes to filmmaking.
Well, you are a ball of fire.
Well, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, you
are too. You're a real spitfire.
I bring, but we always bring along like extra fire extinguishers and stuff like that when Pat's around, because we don't want to have him set us all on fire.
It's the ADD.
Yeah, exactly.
Really,
But we appreciate that because back there was a zombie TV show filmed in Spokane for several years. Sure. And one of the complaints was because there wasn't that much funding, as opposed to now you've got 15 million. Everything, basically all the funding went over there. And like you said, all the independent guys run around trying to do something. But now it sounds like they've got more funding, and then in addition to that, you've got the experience to be able to get people together to be able to say, hey, we can use that funding to do this project, that project.
For sure. And like Spokane's an interesting thing because, they have a lot of things going for them. They have, like an airport. I believe they have some good sound stages. But really, they got some productions to shoot there.
Right.
Which then gives people some experience, gives people a resume, and that begets work.
Yep.
So I have no doubt in my mind if we could get something similar going over here. I would love to make a soundstage at some point here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, especially a thematic soundstage, like an airplane set. We have Boeing. That would never stop working. You know what I mean? And ultimately, too, on top of these incentives, one of the things I want to try to stress to members of the Film Commission, which, you know, the membership is going to be key. I don't think it'll be expensive, but also it's going to be like, you know, what additional incentives can you bring to the table?
Right.
Like for instance, if you're Azteca and you join as a member, you know, I will work with them to be like, look, if a production comes, you know, let's give them 10% off all catering.
Yeah.
Right? So it'll be additional incentives locally on top of already great state incentives.
Exactly.
So that's kind of what I'm trying to do, and everybody's been very receptive to it. And but it's just, you know, like I've produced and written and, you know, just worked on like maybe 1,000 episodes of television.
Yeah.
But I'm brand new to a nonprofit, so that's a kind of a learning curve.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just like the grant process and all that stuff is just kind of meticulous and, you know, bureaucratic, but it's going well, and hopefully, man, I'd like to get something started in earnest by the end of this year. So we start off next year with like, you know, we can pitch productions and to come to town, and also train people up on getting small budget production incentives, which you can get as an individual out here if you pitch a project to Washington Filmworks. So.
And so you basically would help them go through the process of the pitch thing, especially if they've never done it before?
100%. I also want to do writers' rooms.
Okay, cool.
You know, I'm a WGA screenwriter. You know, I want to be Prometheus, you know, steal the fire from Hollywood and bring it to the people here.
We want you to be a Prometheus because you'd be surprised the amount of people and the amount of, especially screen and scriptwriters groups that we've had over the years where people have tried to get together to do and learn that skill. And unfortunately, there's people that show up to try to run their groups that claim they have all the experience, and they don't.
Yeah, you know, screenwriting especially is, for anybody watching especially, one of the things I would impart to anybody trying to write a script is to do it a lot.
Right.
And, you know, not a lot of people know this, but so every single thing you watch on TV, every film you watch, has been rewritten at least 10 times. And that's low. So like in TV, for example, you know, like when I'm writing an episode of television, or when somebody is writing an episode of television, you write a thumbnail. You send that to the studio. Right. You rewrite that. You send that thumbnail to the network. The network approves it. They give it back to you. Now you have to write an outline. You send that to the studio. Sometimes that could take 2 or 3 trips back and forth to the studio. Then you send it to the network. Then you rewrite the outline for the network a couple times, right? Then it becomes a writer's draft. Then you workshop it with the room. Then it becomes a studio draft. You get notes from the studio. Then it becomes a network draft. You get notes from the network. Right. Then you do a table read. Then you do more rewrites. Then it becomes a production draft. And through the production draft, every time a new page comes out that's a different color, sometimes you get 15 rewrites during production. So my advice to any screenwriter is do not be precious about your words. Be fluid. And continue to rewrite. Every single script that has ever been written is 10 rewrites away from being like an Oscar. You know, you just can't be afraid to, and like if somebody gives you some notes, take the good notes and rewrite. But really, the first thing that I would teach anybody trying to write even through the commission is to simply learn to respect the rewrite process and to understand that it's even a thing.
At the same time, I think though that, especially just as an author, and I've screwed around with a couple scripts. So I got away from that because to me, screenwriting, script writing is more difficult than writing a novel, in my opinion. But ensuring that you're able to still keep your voice, I think that's the concern of most creatives.
100%. But also, you know, a voice is creating the subtext behind the scene, which is like a wave. Right? Okay. Like if you think of it like a surfer. Right? The wave is the subtext of the scene, what needs to happen, and the dialogue and the action is the surfer being creative on top of it. Okay. So so long as your subtext is intact, you can do many different versions of spectacle, dialogue, so on and so forth to accomplish what you need to do in the scene. That's really at the heart of brick by brick screenwriting.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now, for you people out there in the audience, understand that this is probably one of the more in-depth conversations I've had about writing with anybody.
Oh, wow.
Especially screenwriting, because that's kind of, authors look at screenwriting and script writing as kind of this little arcane science out here because the format's so much different. And,
Sure.
You're writing, like you said, for definitely a separate visual media. And so you got that little, oh, and I just knocked over your thing. There we go. Oh my God, the props are falling.
That's
but
okay.
That's kind of what the,
Yes. Put this over here.
and the big difference. And so when people try to, anybody who tries to write a book and a screenplay at the same time, you're going to be schizophrenic, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, that's why so many great novels are adapted by
Right.
great screenwriters into great work, because you're establishing the characters, you're establishing the subtext of what needs to happen
Yeah.
and the story, and then that can be the wave you surf on with the screenwriting staples. You know what I mean? And also there's cheats. One of the things, when I got into a writer's room, like I was a writer's assistant to some crazy good writers. Like I was Dan Fogelman's writer's assistant.
Oh, okay.
I was Kevin Fall's writer's assistant, Danny Calvo's writer's assistant. So I was involved in a lot of story breaks. And really what they tell you is to keep writing.
Yeah.
But you want to keep writing to learn the process and to respect the process and to not be, the inertia that you're going to get against you making progress as a screenwriter is not being able to, realize that your work can be improved. If you're too precious about this work,
No, that's true. Yeah.
and you can't see a pathway to continually make it better.
It's
Then
like, it's even like just writing a regular novel. If
Yeah.
you don't get yourself a decent editor who can
100%,
sit you down and go, hey, that may make sense to you, but it doesn't make sense to me.
100%. And notes is a big part of the process. Like
Yeah.
I hired a guy named Corey Scarry, who's a great editor, to edit Wedding Scam for me, and pointed out just some amazing observations.
Yeah.
And I serviced all of them, and it made the book so much better. But yeah, it's that's the one thing I would impart to anybody trying to screenwrite, is to trust the process and continually make it better. When I'm writing a scene, like I'll print it out, I'll lay on the couch, I'll take a red pen,
Yep.
I'll read through it and be like, I can make a better joke here,
Yeah.
and then you just continually refine that process with
Right.
yourself until it comes out nice and sparkly clean and tight.
One thing that he's done for me also is he's excellent at doing little teasers for your book. And he's done some for me, and I'm going to try to show an example or two
Yeah.
when we do the editing here.
Well, Mark, I got to say, you're
Yeah.
a natural. You're a natural on camera. And, it was very easy. You made it easy for me to do.
But we're going to try to show that with the, as part of the editing process, to show also the whole creativity when it comes to any type of film work and what can be done with modern equipment and just good artistic ability that you have. But I'm getting the little 2-minute sign from the floor director.
No
so-
worries. I'd be great to show any of that. And also for anybody,
Yeah.
I really like to work with writers. My whole thing is I like to bring this experience that I've got in Hollywood and bring it to the people here. So if you want to reach out to me for anything, go to weddingscam.com. It's my website, and there's a little form you can fill out to get in touch with me. Screenwriting, producing, a film commission, or even if you just want to say, I laughed my ass off when I read Wedding Scam.
And we'll try to put something there at the credits.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mark.
Excellent information here. And once again, this is another episode of Kitsap Literary Artist and Writer Showcase. Claw meets the first and third Wednesdays of every month at the Denny's on Kitsap Way. Official meeting starts at 7 p.m. We don't charge dues, and we're there to help all types of creatives, whether you're filmmakers, authors, painters, illustrators, we don't care. We try to help people get their creative works out there. We also run around and we try to find venues such as Blackberry Festival and Kitsap Fair and Stampede, where we can have booths and show our wares. If it wasn't for the staff here at Bremerton Kitsap Access Studio, of course, this wouldn't be happening. So always remember that this is a publicly supported company here, basically. And they're always looking for new talent and people that want to come in and produce new shows. And of course, my publisher, Blue Forge Press and Blue Forge Films, they also help with the editing and everything of these Claw episodes. So once again, I really want to thank Pat Sheehan for being here, and for everybody out there in the studio audience.
And I would also like to thank you, because all the things Mark just said about Claw are totally true. Before I found Claw, I wasn't an author, and now I've got a great book that I'm proud of. And every question I needed answered, these guys helped me with. So I just want to say thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. And with that, everybody out there in the audience, please have a very pleasant week and a very productive month and year. Good day.
A state of emergency has been declared by the president. People should stay in their home or shelter in place